Football, what a cruel, cruel sport you are. Heartbreaking at times, exhilarating at others. And last night was a heartbreaker, for sure. From ecstasy to despair in the space of 5 minutes was a real killer, Tottenham Hotspur, you drive me crazy. I love you to bits, but you break my heart so regularly. I've got to be honest, before the game I was not expecting us to win. I was hoping that we would scrape a 1-0 lucky goal scenario. Most people I was kind of talking to and the predictions from the Dorset Spurs boys were all pretty much losses, to be honest. There's a couple in there saying wins because obviously we want our team to win. But generally speaking, the feeling was very much this was going to be a step too far against a very, very good team in PSG, winning the Champions League like 5-0 and so on. Our only hope, which was pointed out to me, was that they hadn't played, since the World Club Championships, and so they'd had a bit of a break, so they might be a bit rusty, and that was our big hope. So we saw the team that Tottenham put out, and straight away I'm looking at it thinking, Danso's in there. And I'm looking around trying to work out what shape are we playing here, who have we got. And you're looking at a five at the back, aren't you? And thinking, well, it kind of makes sense, really. We need to be very defensive-minded. We need to be very structured in our approach. But there was no creativity in that team at all. It looked like it's going to be a tough old watch. But to be fair, for 85 minutes of that game, I thought we played really, really well. I thought that I was kind of thinking about it before the end. I'm thinking, who would be your man of the match here for Spurs? Like, there were so many individual performances that I thought were exceptional. I thought Spence had a brilliant game. I thought he was so good down that left-hand side. He wasn't letting anything happen, anything get past him, and he was strong in the challenge. He was, fast on his feet. He was, standing his man up. He was making sure that, he wasn't getting mugged off. I thought he had a really, really good game. Sarr in the second half ran his absolute socks off. I thought he was strong, challenging and getting involved in everything and trying to get us on the front foot. Bentancur, I thought, was running like I've never seen him run before. I mean, there was one challenge where he ran right across the pitch from one side to the other to block a forward pass, which kind of summed up his overall play. I thought he was exceptional from that point of view. Kudos as well in fighting on scraps but holding up the ball really, really well. Challenging everybody, trying to make things happen, getting ahead, trying to get forward and so on. Obviously, Van der Ven with his fantastic goal. Romero with his great goal. Defensively, they look solid. Danso as well, I thought he looked really, really good. His long throws into the box, causing all sorts of trouble. Really getting involved and even getting involved right up the top end of the pitch. I thought he was immense for us. And of course, Polinia coming in, first real competitive game for him. I thought he did really, really well, worked really, really hard, supported that back three very, very, very well. And then, of course, the one that I've been criticising and have been criticising for a long, long time, Richarlison. I thought Richarlison had probably one of his better games for us than he's had for a very, very long time. Probably the best, one of the best, if not the best performance from him. I I thought his running was really, really, really strong. His attacking was really strong. His intent was there. You know, he had a couple of really good opportunities. He put a couple of decent balls into the box. He was selfless. He was challenging. And, you know, you look at the overall team and you think, you know, there's not anybody in there who you can kind of call out and say had a poor game. Even Porro, I mean, I've not even mentioned Porro, who I thought, again, had a really, really good game, really disciplined in his approach, you know, really strong in defence, which has always been a criticism of his. So yeah, really, really good performance. And I was like, I don't know who I would say was our best player on the day. I thought they all played really, really well as a unit and worked really, really hard. Of course, you're getting towards the end of the game. The South Korean lad Lee comes on as a substitute and gets them back in the game. Of course he does. Once you're in that scenario, as a Tottenham fan, you know that's going to be difficult, because we have up to that point been defending deeply, fending off wave after wave after wave of attack. And Paris Saint-Germain are able to bring on real quality players. And you can see our players getting tireder and tireder, having worked very, very hard throughout the game. And we've got Burnley coming up at the weekend, and you're thinking, we need something. And of course, what we have to bring in is 18 and 19-year-olds, as opposed to proven out-and-out Champions League quality players. And that's not disrespect to the players that come on. I thought Solanke been out injured, long-term injured, hasn't really played. Coming into a game late on, trying to make something happen. Archie Gray, who I rate, I think he's a good player, but young, new, important game. Having to come in and kind of pick up from Polina, who's obviously a lot more experienced in the sport. And then, of course, Matisse Tell. Now, Matisse Tell will get a lot of hate, and I understand has had a lot of hate, which I think is absolutely appalling. If you are one of those people that are racially abusing Matisse Tell, then you are not a Tottenham fan. You know, you are not even a decent person. You are a scumbag. So I've got no time for you. If you are that way inclined, you might as well bugger off now, because I've got no time for you. But Matisse Tell is not having a great time at Tottenham. I think the quality is there. He has ability. You don't get to get to teams like Bayern Munich by not being any good. He's a young man, not had lots of football, trying to get to his best. And I'm not sure whether it will work out for him or not. But in terms of this game, you can criticise his performance because it wasn't particularly good. It was down a level from what had been before him. And he didn't seem to be able to get hold of the ball, make anything happen or have any impact. But that can also be said of Archie Gray coming in, Solanke coming in, and even Bergvall when Bergvall came on. So it felt very much like we're bringing in lesser players than the players that we've already got at a really important time of the game, when the momentum had switched. You know, once they'd scored that goal, the momentum had really switched, and we couldn't get out because we had no creativity in the squad. No one who could put their foot on the ball and really do something with it. You know, ease that pressure. We were sitting far too deep, and so the one time you don't want Jed Spence to let a cross in, he manages to let a cross in. Their player gets ahead, puts the ball in the back of the net, 2-2, and of course then you're looking at the penalty situation. And I was looking at it thinking, who have we got who's penalty takers in that team there? You know, as you looked at it, you're thinking, I don't know who could take these penalties. I don't know who's going to step up. And so, of course, you're relying on Romero and Solanke, Van der Ven, who stepped up, Matisse Tell stepped up. And you kind of look at it and think, okay, fortunately they missed their first one. And you're thinking, this is going to go our way. We deserve this game. We've done so well. We've worked so hard. This has got to go our way. But of course, Mickey steps up, not high enough. Keeper guesses the right way, makes a really good save, and of course then the pressure switches. They score again, and it's all down to Matisse Tell to make sure he puts the ball in the back of the net. And I personally, absolutely hate these short run-ups. I think it's really not the way to go. I'm old school, right? So if you're not a regular penalty taker and you're not normally the person who's going to go in there and smash it, to me, take a decent run up, hit that ball as hard as you can, as close to the corners as you can do it. Just put your laces through it, and even if the keeper gets to it, you might have enough power to take it past him. All this stuttered run-ups and short run-ups and placing it and all the rest of it, it's not for me. It's not for me. And I'm absolutely gutted for Matisse Tell to put that ball wide in the way that he did, because he will get absolute pelters for it. Of course he will. I'm not saying that's right. And of course that's it. It's over. You're out. But you have to take the positives from this. Clearly, Frank has the knowledge to think about his setup, how he's going to set up differently, and all the rest of it. And that worked really well for the majority of the game. But when you get to a point where you've got lapses in concentration, this is what happens. Fine margins, especially when you're playing teams as good as PSG. So for me, disappointed, but pleased overall with how the team played and the effort and the togetherness that they showed. It'll be interesting now to see what happens in the transfer market, because obviously we're heavily linked with Eze, Savinho, and so on. So is Daniel Levy going to do that work and get those players in to really bolster that squad? Because without it, we can see that there are some big holes. Now, not every team that we play is going to be as good as PSG, but there are some very good teams in the Premier League, and of course we are still got to play some of these teams in the Champions League. Let's not forget that. So, gonna need some reinforcements to see this through. But anyway, disappointed, but still proud. It's only a game. It's only a pre-season friendly. How many Super Cups have Arsenal been in? Up the Spurs.